Hey everybody, my name is April and this is Thrifty Nerdy Mom. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So glad to see everyone. So this is kind of a different type of video. I've kind of been putting this off filming this, but I think it's something that needs to be filmed. If you're new here, you don't know that we took a Disney trip at the beginning of February, and a lot of things happened. A lot. And I'm not usually one to complain, but I feel like this video can be informational for people, and excuse me, it is like first thing in the morning. I know if I don't film it now, I'm not going to film it, so good morning. Emma is at her dad's house. I didn't want to film it with her here because I don't want to make her think this ruins the memories. And this thing about this trip too, we did have some really good memories. There were some great memories, and you'll see that in the vlogs when I get that edited. I have started editing some of the videos, which is why I really want to put this out before I start putting those out, but this needs to be said before you see those. Our notes, and this video pretty much, I'll get to the chase now. When things take a turn on your Orlando trip, we'll talk about all that. So one thing that didn't necessarily go wrong, but I would suggest, if you want to order groceries to be sent to your hotel room, pre-plan that. Our last trip last year, I put in an order like as soon as I could, type of thing. And I didn't this year because just things got chaotic. It kept snowing here, and I live in Arkansas, which is south, so like it was craziness. We're not used to that much ice and snow. But pre-plan that. That wasn't necessarily anything that went wrong. We just ended up not getting a grocery order, and it ended up being fine. But if you plan on doing that to save a little bit of money, pre-plan it. First thing is weather, pretty much. If you have seen people vlog around the time, like mid to late January to early February, it was cold. You go into Florida like expecting, I went in from snow, and I expected, oh, it's going to be warm, freezing sometimes. It was so cold, and I think it was even warmer than what some people experienced like a week or two before. It was so cold. Like it ended up like warming up a little bit. Our Universal Day was really nice and really mild. We went to Daytona, and we went to Universal Thursday. Friday was kind of chilly. Saturday we actually played on the beach, like in Daytona, and I got sunburned. So we went from like the extremes of like cold to raining all day to me getting sunburned, like bam, 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 bam. Prepared for anything. I did pack aloe just in case because it was in our bag from last year. I did pack sunscreen. I still got burned. I've noticed now that it's just kind of, it's a part to my medicines. I've always been easily burned. Now with the medicines that I'm on, I'm gonna get burnt. So be prepared for everything, especially if you're going in the winter. Prepare for it to be cold. If you're going in warmer months, be prepared for the rain, and be prepared for sunburn. One thing that I learned is Disney will ask you to take off your ponchos. If you're going in a ride, they will not ask you to take off your rain jacket. So we are now looking into buying like foldable rain jackets, just transition, because you will have to take it off, stuff it in your bag, and then take it back off, and all that good things. Kind of like the least of our worries type of thing. The rain was not great. I'll get into that later. But yeah, the point that I was gonna make, I strapped to my backpack, my Disney backpack that I've taken to the parks the last couple times, it broke on the bus. Like the bus driver incidentally like broke it and was, I think, very afraid that I would cause a stink about it. It happens. There's no way to sew it back on type of thing. It just was not going. So I looked in and was like, oh, we'll just buy you a bag at the parks. My frugalness will not allow me just to randomly buy a bag at the parks. That's the, you want to buy a bag at the parks, buy a bag at the parks. But if you don't, get you an Uber and go buy you a bag of Walmart and Target's very handy. At that point, we'll come across again in a second. Buy a parks bag if you don't want to. Don't. I ended up buying mine thrifting for $4. I still use it all the time. It's kind of like a kid's backpack. It has like rainbows and kittens with glasses. Really pretty good backpack, so I use it now. Still, and this is where Walmart comes in again. Don't forget your phone, guys. Don't forget your phone. I didn't forget my phone. My mother did though. She left it on top of her car. And the funny thing was, she called me like 5 times that morning to make sure I was awake so we can get to the airport. And I was like, look, the reason why I didn't call you is because I went ahead and put my phone in my bag. That way I knew I had it. And then we get to Orlando and she realized she doesn't have her phone. Because she was like, why would you do that? Because I know I'll forget things. And I don't want to forget my phone. I know how important your phone is at Disney. For the most part, it was fine because I had planned the trip and a lot of things were under my name. Because I had my phone, I could still like get stuff done. What we couldn't do was get our car that we had reserved. We were going to get a rental car because we were going to leave from Disney and go to Universal one day, and then we were leaving from like Disney to go to Daytona to see my grandma. We weren't able to get our car because my mom reserved it on my dad's debit card instead of hers, and then she didn't have her phone to tell her bank when she to switch over the money to her actual card. Don't forget your phone, guys. And how she solved that one was I had an extra phone. I usually bring one just to have one on Wi-Fi just in case mine dies and stuff like that. So I had an extra phone. So when we were on, even when we were on the bus, because you can get on Disney transportation Wi-Fi. So anytime we were like moving or at the resort or at Disney, it didn't help at Universal. Maybe they have a Wi-Fi. I didn't check it out. Anytime we were at Disney, we were on their Wi-Fi. So she was able to use Messenger on my extra phone and at least contact people. But how she solved it, she has Straight Talk. She went to Walmart and just bought a new phone. And that's kind of my suggestion. Again, go to Walmart. They do have phones from like AT&T and things like that. They aren't maybe like the greatest like phones, but if you need a phone for a little bit, spend $50, $60, get your phone, I guess, is my point. Always mention an allergy. We had a reservation at Ohana Breakfast. My mom is not allergic to gluten, but because we both have RA, they suggest we don't eat gluten. I kind of eat it anyways. I do go very lightly with it. But that's a whole nother story. But my mom doesn't eat gluten, but she decided that she didn't want to necessarily say that she doesn't eat gluten. So I just didn't tell them that when we got there because she was very grumpy about it. I'll get to that point again in a minute. So I just didn't tell them, but I almost forgot to tell them that I have a turmeric allergy. It's not a normal allergy, like I don't break out in hives. I just get kind of really sick and I'm in pain. And sometimes I ingest it accidentally. It happens because it's in random things that you don't think about. And this is what I'm getting to. Always mention your allergies because the POG juice has turmeric in it. I have been waiting like years to drink the POG juice. And I can't. I was so mad. I almost cried. It was at the, because we did this right before we were headed to Daytona. So it was like my last Disney kind of goodbye. Drinking the whipped cream at Garden Grill. I always get that, there's like California Grill and Garden Grill. I always get those mixed up. So, character breakfast that you spin around living in the land. Yeah, that. I believe it's Garden Grill. Greatest character meal that you'll ever do. But we loved it. I always screamed his name though. So always mention your allergies because turmeric was in the whipped cream. So I mentioned it. My mom was grumpy. My mom was grumpy a lot. And if she watches this, I love you, Mom, but you were grumpy. It was just a thing. Everyone kind of got grumpy here and there. Emma got grumpy. I'm sure I got grumpy. We all kind of got grumpy. And my suggestion for that is just kind of know when to call it a quits and head back. Getting like solo mom time at Magic Kingdom just because people were tired. And then I got solo mom time in Hollywood Studios because people didn't want to deal with the rain. Yeah, that was... I don't think I could have done that with like the whole party. I couldn't have like stuck out the rain all day with my whole party because it was... I would have to get Emma in and out of my poncho and stuff like that with me, and then make sure everyone else had theirs off too. Thankfully, I did get solo mom time because I very much trust my mom and my sister with Emma, and they took her back to resort. She had a good time just kind of like lounging around, and we didn't go swimming those days because it was cold. She did end up going swimming one day because she was determined. The pools were heated, but it was still cold. I was really going to ruin the day. Call it quits. Also, we have learned that if Emma gets really grumpy and she's just kind of chocolate milk, chocolate, things like that do help her. It's just kind of like a little boost for her, and it makes her day so much brighter. So even little things like that you know with your kids will... I know you don't want to give them sugar, but A, they're on vacation, and B, sometimes it just improves. I'm not feeding her chocolate all day. I'm giving her, like, I put a Hershey bars in my bag, and I'll give her a little bit when she was starting to feel run down. Or we would stop and eat, and I made sure to get her chocolate milk. Things like that. Know your kids, know your travel party, know little tips and tricks like that. Disney is not always magical. You expect it to be, but it's not always magical. So next point is I got Universal gift cards, and the only way I could get those Universal gift cards were through the mail, and I ordered them in time. They were $200. I'm one of those people that like to get gift cards just to kind of help budget out. Like, we have $200 to spend at Universal type of thing. For one day, that's not like unreasonable. So I ordered gift cards online to be shipped to my house in enough time. Due to weather and just slow mail, they didn't get here. What are you going to do? I thought maybe I could just use them on the app, because I got a Disney gift card through Target.com and was able to put that in on the app and pay for food. And that was like our designated food money, and was able to use it on the app and stuff like that. So I thought, hey, maybe Universal will be the same way. It won't be that big of a deal. It wouldn't let me do it. So this is what happened. I had my email that proved I ordered my cards in time. I had a picture of my cards with the back scratched off because Steve was still here and was able to intercept that mail, because it came in the day after. Like, we left on a Sunday, it came in on a Monday of everything. And I went to guest services in the front and showed them all this proof, and I said, hey, this is what happened. I was just trying to keep, money on cards, and it took them a minute to get it done, but if you hear something in the background, it's my cat playing. I was very nice. She was very nice. It took her a minute, but she got them loaded on a new card, or actually 2 new cards. So just have proof of things like that if they come in late. If your whole family goes, have someone trusted. Like, if Steve would have gone with us, my mom could have intercepted the mail. Have a friend intercept the mail, send you some pictures and things like that. That way, my cat's going crazy. That way you can try to get those gift cards back. And honestly, we ended up like getting one big meal, and then Emma got a wand and I got a Spirit jersey. So It was great. We know I'm a curvy girl. I'm fluffy, I'm curvy, whatever you want to call it. Universal is not as curvy friendly as Disney. And I knew that going in, thanks to my sister who's worked at Universal, and some vlogs know this. If you are curvy or fluffy at Universal, test the seats. Sometimes it's about repositioning, you know. And then sometimes apparently it's about like the lap, like how it buckles you in. So Velocicoaster, I was told, would probably be the hardest like that, and I think Gringotts would probably be the hardest ones. I didn't even try Gringotts. Velocicoaster, and I heard that was one of the tough ones to get on. It, like, I had to get, like, it was like this type of situation, so I just had to make sure, like, my my leggings were actually, like, pulled up and, like, sit down, and I fit in. The thing turned green, and they have tester seats for Velocicoaster before you get in line, which is great. We went to Hagrid's, and I got paired out of my group with some other little girl. I couldn't get the lap bar down because my thighs are kind of meaty, and they took her and me off the ride, and I had to like go, hey, she's not with me, she needs to go back to her family. And her mom was freaking out behind me. I felt so bad, I almost wanted to cry for her. But they finally got her situated back with her family, or close to her family. And then they had me test the lap bars. They were very patient with me. I was very nice. There was a lady in front of me that was not very nice. She did not get any fast passes. They gave me 3 free fast passes because it just didn't work out. I was nice about it. It's not their fault. I just didn't think about it. I thought because Velocicoaster, and this is what we all thought, my sister, Emma, and I, that I'd be able, I thought, just know. It's kind of good to know like what kind of apparatus you're trying to fit into, I guess, because Velocicoaster, I'm a little bit thinner up here. My thighs and my calves are bigger. I did have a problem for a second with Flight of Passage with my calves because they are bigger. But I did get that settled into car. We're back to the rental car situation. There was a few things. Make sure your credit/debit card is in your name. I mean, it's my dad's card. My dad and mom are still married. They wouldn't let her rent the car with my dad's card. Make sure it has your name on it. Make sure you pre-reserve your car. Don't just on a whim say, because my mom got very frustrated and was like, we'll just rent one later. We'll get a taxi to Disney and just rent one later. I was like, okay, Mom. It ended up being more for less days than it would have been for that entire week. Now we're getting to the tail end of things, and this kind of is where I've just been so exhausted from this trip that I haven't wanted to talk about it because it's a little triggering. Like it was so much just in 2 days. Like it was so much. So we're going to talk about Orlando Airport for a minute, and then we're going to talk about Frontier Airlines. I think I will leave Frontier Airlines for another video. Orlando Airport. We got there 5 a.m. on a Monday for a 7:27 flight back to Memphis. 2-hour flight, really simple. Not so simple. If you have ever been to Orlando, if you've ever checked in at Frontier, what do we got there? The line was wrapped, and they only had one line going. Was wrapped past the Universal store, and then wrapped even past, like, I think it was a little bit past Dunkin's in Orlando Airport. I don't know if you know this, like where what I'm talking about. That's the best location markers I can give you. It was wrapped. I stopped and got the nuggets. I was like, maybe it'll move quickly. And my mom stood in line. So Emma and I kind of ate, you know, and took little sips here and there just to kind of refuel ourselves for the day. And while we're standing in line, I ended up taking our phones and scanning our boarding passes and got the paper passes. And then I even got the tag for our checked luggage. But we sat there for hours and never, like, I'll touch on this more. We sat there for hours. And then come to find out, even if we would have got through that line, we wouldn't have gotten through TSA line before our flight left. A lot of people that day. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. There was 100 people kind of stranded. And so I know Disney transportation to the airport typically doesn't get you there until 2 hours before. If you have checked luggage, I would almost call to see if you can get there earlier. When we had to fly to Denver, because like I said, I'm going to do a Frontier video later and kind of talk about our Frontier experience. And it's a whole thing to unbag, so I want to do another video for that one. We're headed to Denver. We got in the TSA line in plenty of time, just because we were stranded in the airport for 13 hours, and B, we were not missing that flight. There was a 17-year-old girl who was an unaccompanied minor in the TSA line, and she said, my flight leaves in like 30-45 minutes. I don't think I'm gonna make it through this line. And she said this to someone guarding, like just standing, I guess it was TSA agent outside the line. And they said, well, you just better hope that you can get through it. Unaccompanied minor myself, and I just looked at my mom and I said, we need to help her, you know? And we looked at a guy who was just like directly in front of her because we were trying to get her through. And we said, hey, you know, because she was heartbroken. We said, hey, she's trying to get through line. Her flight's about to leave. Do you care? She's by herself. She's by herself. Can she cut in front of you? He said, yeah, go ahead. We're like, can you try to get her? Can you ask the person ahead of you? And he agreed, and he got her from there. The next person got her from there. We got her through the line. But there's no reason why an unaccompanied minor should have to go through that by themselves. She almost didn't make it. She doesn't know what to do. We missed our flight, and it took hours for us to fix it. There's no reason why an unaccompanied minor couldn't get through, and you couldn't be nice just to let her through. It was one person. There's cheer teams there. I understand not letting a whole cheer team through, but one person who's by herself. Thankfully, we got her through. We are pretty sure she made her flight. That was a lot. And then going from Orlando to Denver, we've heard that Denver is just so much chaos and crazy, and Denver was like so relaxed. It was a nice change, especially after our Orlando experience. So, Orlando Airport, be prepared for it. But yeah, so we're gonna end that here for this one. Pretty much everything that can go wrong on your Orlando, Florida, trip. Hopefully this helps some people. You can plan for it. You can be aware, things like that. I will be doing a Frontier video because like I said, it's a whole video to unpack everything that happened. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, I want to say, does this negate some of the memories that we have? No. There was some magical times. We had a great time. Emma reconnected with my grandmother, which is her great grandmother. And it was, it was beautiful, things like that. And you'll see that in the vlogs. I don't want to negate from that, but I want to help out people that might run into these issues and kind of know what to do. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll probably see you real soon. Bye.